if you're struggling with academics in college, or if you're struggling with having the right focus in college life, or if you want to get internships and you're having a hard time finding one, in this episode of Bitscast, I am joined with Gargi Balasubramaniam, and we talk about how you can maintain your college life along with academics, how you can get internships, and a lot more in this episode. Gargi Balasubramaniam just graduated from BITS Goa, and yeah, she's currently interning at American Express, and she has had research internships in institutions like Technical University of Munich. And you'll be learning a lot in this episode. Make sure that you watch till the very end. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. Like this video, and let's get into the episode now. Hello, Gargi. Thanks a lot for joining me for this podcast interview. Really grateful to talk to you. How are you doing there in the work from home era?
Well, I have my work from home internship going on
Yeah.
as part of the PS. So, yeah, life's actually going on pretty well as
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagined. And I'm getting to do a lot of my music at home and a lot of cooking and so on and so forth. So, not bad, I'd say.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I'm actually trying to do some other stuff as well, other than coding and college academics. So yeah, it's been fun.
Exactly.
And are you able to adapt to this, work from home kind of a style of doing work?
See, the problem with work from home is you don't really set boundaries on the time till which you're working. So, like your
Yeah,
time of work can extend till like 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. into the night, and then your
sure.
entire disturb is your entire schedule is disturbed. So, I think very important thing is to set a proper schedule. I'll start at 11 a.m. and I'll finish everything at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
come no matter what. But yeah, in the initial few days were a bit different, and with literally everything came to a standstill. So yeah, but I think all of us have adapted pretty well, and some of us are even wishing that the lockdown doesn't end. So
Yeah. That's great. And actually, talking about how you learning to code, what was your that journey been like? How did you start to code?
So, see, my journey of learning to code had started way back before I came to college. So, in 11th and 12th,
Oh,
we had CBSE, we had C++. So,
yeah.
in fact, by 12th, I had a fairly good idea of how to code in C++, and like what was remaining for me was actually the algorithm. So, like the coding part and how to put those thoughts into the language, that was pretty much sorted for me in first year. And when it comes to Python, I don't think anyone would have a problem learning Python. Like
Yeah.
one
Python is
week
pretty
or 2
simple.
weeks. Yeah, it's very simple and very easy to catch on. So, and so my learning curve, and then in first year I had this. By second year, I was really interested in functional programming. So I took up a project just to learn how functional programming languages work. So that was my exploration that I did. But yeah, my I had started coding before I came to college, so I didn't face much of a problem, especially like, for example, during the computer programming course. I mean, it wasn't that hard.
All right.
Yeah.
And what has your BITS experience been like so far? I mean, you're in your final year, right?
Yeah, and college is technically over for me because I'm
Yeah.
not going back to campus. I'd say it's been too good, and so every person has their own nature, right? So I feel Bits has suited me as a unique person, and like the way I've turned out to be, like I'm really satisfied. I'm very happy. I
Oh,
have some good memories of college, both academically and non-academically. So
yeah.
yeah, it's been a very good journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. And you actually got 9.7 CGPA, right? So what would be your tips for people that are, struggling to get enough CGPA in college? Because like I have like some trash CGPA, like around 7 or something. And so yeah, tell me, how did you manage all that?
So, see, there's no success, like there's no secret potion for it. And I feel that first year is actually a pretty crucial time. So, I don't know which year you are in right now. So, you're
Yeah, I'm in
in
my first year.
Yeah, so I feel that first is actually a pretty crucial time for you to get used to the way of like, study courses and how, so there's a big tendency to take light because, everything's so
Yeah.
new, you get involved in other activities.
Hmm.
But I'd say that there's no such secret portion, and many people might not like me saying this, but it is important to attend classes only because you know what's happening. And even if you don't study that day, you know that you can manage well. I mean, if you just 1 week you don't attend classes and you end up looking at your book and you'll be like, okay, what just happened? So that's
Hmm.
actually what causes, like, that's like a dominoes effect. You then don't know what to do, and then you're confused, and then you're asking around. So I feel that my suggestion would be that don't stress about getting the CGPA. I mean, exams are one thing, but if you just be consistent, be regular, and like just do it as some normal activity, I think it's not going to be a big problem. It's pretty
Hmm.
manageable.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually curious to know how much of CGPA plays a role in you getting into maybe into a company or getting research, internship opportunities.
See, whether it's research opportunities, whether it's your job, whether it's your company internship, whatever it is, they look at CGPA as a very objective figure. And
Okay.
it's always good to have a good CGPA. Like
Hmm.
you will never, like your CGPA will not go useless in terms of opening opportunities for you. I mean, of course, during the resume shortlisting, you must have heard that many companies set thresholds like, okay, we won't take people below the CGPA and
Yeah.
so on. So I think your CGPA is a very good metric to get you into the light. And then from there onwards, how you carry yourself is how you've
Yeah.
what all you've learned. So I mean,
Mhm.
CGPA is very important in my opinion, and no, it might not really help you after college because it becomes a bit irrelevant. But for opening the doors, I think it is important to have a good CGPA for any avenue, like be it jobs, be it research internships. I'd say it's the research side also might give a bit more weightage to your CGPA, but
Okay.
okay, like even beyond a point, everything saturates. So yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, for that initial push, I think a good CGPA really reflects that okay, you're capable of maintaining a good academic portfolio, so to speak.
Okay. Hmm.
So
All right. All
it is.
right. Hmm. And what is your how did you got those internships, research internships in Homi Bhabha Center and Technical University of Munich? How did you get those?
So see, Homi Bhabha was part of my practice school one, my PS1, and I just had a good CGPA, so I got the PS station, and
Okay.
I had gone there because I had this big image of TIFR in my mind, and so the work there, I think everyone knows that in practice school stations, you get to do mainly dev work, web dev work,
Yeah.
unless it's some unique startup which makes you do ML. And first is second is not really the time where like I was like, yeah, I want to go to this place, and period. I didn't think too much about it. So yeah, that was not very consequential. In third year, like before the research internship, so I had made up my mind that I want to apply for DAD and MITAX, which were
Mm.
part. So just for the sake of completeness, there are a lot of research internship programs
Yeah.
which fund Indian students. So there's DAD, there's MITAX, and then there's SN Bose, there
Hmm.
is SURF by Caltech. There are a lot of programs. So I had made up my mind that so it's very important for you to be decisive about whether you want to go for a company internship or for a research internship. And
Okay.
that was a very important factor for me. I had decided that I want to go for a research internship. And because of that, I already had a fixed objective in my mind. And so I had applied to both DAT and MITAX. And here also, as expected, CGPA was an important factor for screening out the applicants.
Okay.
And then they look at your, so by third year, you are not expected to do some good research work, obviously.
Yeah.
But they look out for your potential to do research. Like if you have done some good dev projects, you have good letters of recommendation, you have a good statement which highlights your potential to do research. If not, you having done that. So I feel that if you are clear about what you want to do and if you know that you can do it, then applying with a very focused mindset is very important, because these applications are pretty tasking. You have to
Yeah.
mail professors, and
Mhm.
like 2-3 months beforehand you have to sort out your visa, etc., etc. So it is very tasking, and it's important that you have your mindset in the right place. And so yeah, this was the I think this was the main motivation, that I had a single objective and I got what I wanted. So
Mhm. So you have already decided that you want to go into research. How did you get into this frame of mind that research is for you and not, sitting for companies and working there?
see, I feel that's it's impossible to decide and have an epiphany that yes, I only want to do this. I had never closed down my mind to a job, but
Yeah.
I know myself, and I feel that I'm more cut out for an environment where I get to do my own work on my own terms and conditions. And it did turn out to be really nice when I went for my DAD internship. I was the boss of my work, and I got to write my own paper. I got to write my own paper. So I mean, that's me. So I assess myself. Now, if someone else there out there thinks that they're good at coding, they like, for example, say they are very interested in competitive coding, they spend regularly 2 hours every day on it, and then they'll feel that okay, we're good for jobs. And it's not that jobs and research are mutually exclusive. There is a fair
Yeah.
amount of there are common skill sets involved in the two. So yeah, I mean, there's no such. You have to assess yourself and think that how you where you will be happy. So yeah, that's how I didn't think that much also. I just went for it. And after that, I'm pretty happy.
All right, great. And what are you most excited about going forward into this new decade? Machine learning?
I guess, but that machine learning definitely. But I think everyone in this right now is excited about machine learning.
What
So yeah, machine learning.
application of machine learning are you excited about?
I honestly think that it's high time we look at white box machine learning models, as in interpretability in machine learning. Like they've been performing really nice. Like neural networks have been performing really nicely on in various domains. But now we should look at machine learning models from our perspective, as in how can we understand what's actually happening. And if you understand what's happening in those models, you can further use that knowledge to make the models even better, right?
Yeah.
So this interpretable, explainable machine learning, and with that comes this entire new research area of fairness, transparency, etc. in machine
Mhm.
learning. So I think
Ethics in
that is
AI.
the ethics. Yeah, ethics is a bit more broad because it involves all social sciences. But yeah, I feel this is the new trend in machine learning, which is very recently, like the number of publications in this area, the number of upcoming conferences being organized for these areas has risen quite at a fast rate in the last, I think, 1 or 2 years. So yeah, that's an exciting new area of
Mhm.
ML.
Yeah, there are a lot of companies that claim that they have an AGI, so we had Sophia, which seems to be an AGI, but it's not, because obviously they give them the questions that they want to ask,
Yeah.
and so she just replies according to that. So they claim that they have an AGI. What do you think? Is this even possible to make an AGI?
So I feel that see, you should if it's possible or not, that depends on the applications which you are trying to work in, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people like question if uh, if there's any machine learning of any sorts, or but you should think about what the utility of your endpoints, right? So I think more important questions should be asked at this point of time, rather than you know
Hmm.
yeah.
All right. All right, Gargi, thanks a lot for joining me for this podcast interview. I hope the audience will learn something from this and implement and get some great results done. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining me. And yeah.
Okay, nice talking to you. Bye.
So guys, that was Gargi. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Bitscast. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you've been enjoying the series so far, make sure that you go to Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star rating for this episode. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching the video till the very end. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.